All right, today we're tackling one of philosophy's great cold cases, the ancient Greek thinker Heraclitus. Now, this guy was known as the Obscure, and for good reason. He didn't leave us a neat philosophy. He left behind a trail of riddles, and together, we're going to try to solve them.
Right out of the gate, he hits us with things like this. A road going up a hill is, of course, the same road that leads back down. Seems obvious, right? But with Heraclitus, you always have to suspect there's something deeper going on.
You see, he's not just talking about geography here. He's making a huge claim about the fundamental nature of reality itself. And to get it, we're going to have to put on our detective hats.
Now, part of what makes this so tricky is that we don't actually have his book. It's been lost for centuries. All we have are these little snippets, these fragments quoted by other writers. So our job is kind of like archaeology. We have to piece together this entire worldview from just a handful of sherds.
So let's start with his most famous riddle. I'm almost certain you've heard this one before.
The usual interpretation is pretty simple. Everything is always changing. The water flowing by is new water, so it's a new river. Everything is in flux. Case closed, right?
Well, hold on. What if we've been looking at this completely backwards? What if Heraclitus' real point is about what makes the river stay the same? I mean, think about it. For something to be a river, the water has to keep moving. If it stopped, it'd just be a pond. So the constant change is the very thing that preserves its identity.
And this brings us to the master key, the one idea that unlocks nearly everything Heraclitus says. It's his obsession with opposites, change and stability, up and down, life and death. He believed they weren't enemies but partners in a cosmic dance.
So how exactly do these opposites interact? Well, for Heraclitus, the universe is not a thing, it's a process, a constant fiery process of transformation.
He describes it just like this, a world where everything is constantly turning into its opposite, a never-ending cycle of change.
He even applied this to the basic elements he saw in the world. Fire condenses into water, water becomes earth, and so on, in this great cosmic loop. Nothing is ever destroyed, it just changes its costume.
But here's the twist. This process isn't random chaos. He calls it war and strife. But for him, war isn't just about destruction, it's the engine of creation. The tension, the pull and push between opposites is what brings everything into existence. It's the law of the universe.
And this is where his genius really shines. This endless war doesn't result in chaos. No, paradoxically, it creates a deep, underlying harmony. He's telling us that the most important truths aren't the ones you see on the surface. We see conflict everywhere, but if we look closer, we'll find this incredible, unifying force holding it all together.
His favorite examples were the bow and the lyre. A bow only works because of the tension between the wood pulling out and the string pulling in. Opposing forces create a single function. Its purpose is to deal death, yet its name in Greek, bios, is the exact same word for life. And a lyre, it only makes beautiful music because of the tension of the strings. Harmony is born from opposition.
This hidden harmony, this deep structure, is what Heraclitus called the phusis, the true nature of something. And for him, that nature isn't just one thing. It's the dynamic tension of opposites that allows a thing to be what it is in the first place.
And that brings us right back to our river. The phusis of the river, its essential identity, is this beautiful paradox. It is a stable thing that exists only because of the constant change of the water. Its stability and its flux are two sides of the same coin.
Okay, but Heraclitus doesn't stop with just the physical world. He takes this radical idea of opposites and applies it all the way up to our values and eventually to the divine itself.
Think about seawater. Is it good or bad? Well, it depends on your perspective, right? For fish, it's everything, pure, life-giving. For us, it's undrinkable, dangerous. The same substance is both good and bad at the same time. The value isn't in the water, it's in the relationship. And this, of course, leads to a massive question. If good and bad, just and unjust all depend on where you're standing, does that mean those words are meaningless? Is there no such thing as absolute justice?
And his answer is just stunning. He says, look, from our limited human point of view, we see all these divisions, we draw these lines in the sand. But from a divine perspective, all these opposites are part of one single beautiful and perfect whole.
Heraclitus' God isn't some person sitting on a cloud.
It's the cosmic order itself. This divine logic, the logos, sees the whole dance, the war and the peace, the strife and the harmony, not as contradictions, but as one single magnificent pattern. It all fits together.
So after all that, what do we take away from solving this puzzle? Well, Heraclitus is really challenging us. He's telling us to look for the hidden connections beneath all the noise and conflict, to realize that the things we think are stable often rely on constant change, to remember, with some humility, that our perspective is never the whole story. Real wisdom isn't about picking a side in the war of opposites. It's about seeing the entire pattern.
And that leaves us with a final thought. This isn't just some ancient philosophical game. It's a lens for looking at the world, a challenge to find the unity inside the division, the stability inside the chaos, and the hidden harmony in the beautiful, cosmic war that is happening all around us all the time.